guys, Short Midget here. So I got a personal gun that I just built. So this is an ICS ACR, or it's called the CXP APE. I think the CXP is only for the short barrel version, but they might call the long version CXP as well, because I do know that ICS uses the CXP type of description quite often, but they normally use it for the CQB guns, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know if that's just for their short barreled guns, or if the long barreled is also called CXP. But they go by APE. Now there's two different barrel lengths, the longer version and the shorter version like this. I think it's about 10 inches. The longer version is probably between 14 and 16. It also comes in complete tan, and it comes in two-tone, and then it comes in straight black. So you do have a lot of options. Some people do like two-tone, which is, you know, cool. Two-tone, tan and black. I'm not a fan of tan at all, so I would just use straight black, and that's why I purchased it in complete black. So, basically, I purchased this because I had purchased a WE ACR, AEG, back actually like over Christmas break, so a long time ago. And I have had nothing but problems with that gun. Do not buy the WE AEG ACR. I repeat, do not buy the WE AEG ACR. In fact, their gas blowback one's garbage too, because I had one and it was trash. Now the ACR made by WE is so nice as far as externals. It's just, it feels better than this. It feels like I'm holding the real gun. Everything's anodized. The polymer is incredibly nice. The externals are just so good, but the internals are WE and they're trash. The gearbox shell is like made of cardboard. The holes for the bushings round out. They're included with brass stock bushings, and they're like loose. They come loose in the shell, and so they end up rounding out the actual shell holes, the bushing holes. So then shimming is awful. You can chance stripping teeth off. The selector switch system's proprietary. The AR latch system's proprietary. For the when you flip the safe, it decocks. This has the same system, but it is more reliable. I can tell in this gun. Just so many other issues. Proprietary nozzle, proprietary hop-up, a garbage hop-up. This is rotary, so much better. But yeah, just in general, I don't want to get any more in depth. Just don't buy the WE AEG ACR unless you want to HPA it. I've heard of some people HPAing them. I think Wolverine is the engines that have nozzles for them. I think maybe Polar Star might make jack nozzles or F1 nozzles for the WE ACR AEG. One of you guys wants to buy it, I have complete externals. Literally everything. It's got hop-up and stuff. I have the gearbox if you want it, but it's just complete trash. So I'm just going to start from the back and go to the front on this gun. So it's got 7 positions, it looks like. There's 6, and then there's a 7th here. So really long on the stock. Like this, that's a huge person could hold this gun. Even there's really long. I put it in like the 2nd position, like right there. Now, this does have the issue where the Anka ACR has, which is basically when you hit the stock, it extends without hitting the button. And I'll prove that. I'm not hitting the button, and it just, you can yank it out. You can go, you know. Just be gentle. Don't, just hit the button and try to be slow, basically. Now, the cheek rest goes up to 5 different positions, which is a ton. That's a ton. Are they little increments? It's probably going to be hard to get little increments. Plus, everything is breaking in because it is brand new. So yeah, nice and sturdy, but you can yank it up. Same story as the stock. You can yank the stock back and yank this up. So just be careful. I keep it all the way down. It's no problem. As far as battery storage, now you can get the stock off. You can put your battery in 2 different ways. Some people say, oh, just lift this off. Just pull the cap off of the stock, and you can fit the battery in there. I wouldn't do that because this thing's probably going to become loose, this rubber cap. So try to keep that on. Don't mess with that. What I'd recommend doing is pulling the stock all the way out. There's this little latch here. You push the little latch in and hold this down, and then you've got easy access. Now, I have a BTC in here, so the wires are a little short, but when you get them, they're about this long, and it has a fuse in it. It is Tamiya, too. As far as batteries, great battery to use would be a Venom 1300 11.1. Fits perfectly in there. Connect the wires with the stock wires even. Perfect, no issues. I got 2 of these. I bought 2 of them from my brother, and he paid like 35 bucks for both, which is decent. He wanted 40, and I'm like, dude, you're retarded. So I just gave him 35 for both, which is a decent price. You can get nanotech versions of these batteries. I think they're 1500, and they're a little bit, they might be a little bit wider, so you might have issues fitting those in here, but I can confirm that the Venoms, the 1300 Venoms, are perfect for this gun. They're kind of expensive to buy brand new, but those will fit if you do want to invest in those. You could probably just try around, ask some friends. You might be able to get a stick lipo in here, I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure you could get a stick. Absolutely, a stick 1200. Yeah, stick 1200 easy. You might not be able to put the stock all the way in, but most people aren't going to run it all the way in. I'm kind of short, and I run it 1 or 2 positions out. So that's how you do that to get the battery in. So fairly easy. Make sure you pull that latch. I forgot to do that, of course. So one thing about this ACR that's different with all the other ones out there is the fact that the receiver is actually metal. So this is not plastic, this lower. It is completely metal. And you have a lot of different features on here. So you got a mag catch here, which is what most people are going to use. You got one right here, just like standard ACR. So you got those 2. But it also has one right here that you push up, which is super weird. So you could, basically what you can do is you can go to grab your mag, push up, and pull out. Honestly, always pull out. But anyways, all the features are pretty much ambidextrous. So you do have that magazine catch. You actually have 2 options on this side. Like I said, this one, and then the other side there. And then the bolt lock, which is where the ACR standard ones are. And that is right on your trigger guard, at the front of the trigger guard. So the charging handle, you can pull back, very stiff, which is nice. And then you got the bolt lock right there. As you can see, you got the hop-up system in there. I'll go over that a little bit later. The upper receiver is anodized aluminum, it's probably aluminum, anodized. It's a little bit rougher coating, which is nice. It's what I like to see. It's very cool, and it feels a lot like a real gun. The low receiver is painted in some sort of kind of more glossy, not straight gloss, but more glossy. As far as the licensing, there's no real licensing. It's just ICS logos and writings. So whatever floats your boat, I guess. The rail system on here is key mod, and that is one thing that I didn't care about this gun. Now, key mod, that's okay. Like, I use key mod all the time. The reason why I like the key mod is because a lot of people have it, and I have a bunch of key mods, so I can use the other rail segments for other key mods, or sell them to friends that get key mods, and have plenty of rails. But I really, really like the ACR, like the Remington, or what comes on the WE, the rail system that they have, and it's these big notches, and it uses these screws that thread, and it's a different system. I like the look of that a lot. That's like the classic ACR look. It's just cool to me. But this has the key mod, and there's no option to use that other system on this. So you're stuck with it. It's decent. It's very compatible with other stuff, and that's a good thing. But just for me, I really would like to see the standard ACR system, but I don't know if they would have gotten kind of not copyrighted, but called out on it because it would look too much like an ACR. You know, I don't know. But it's the same color as the upper receiver. It's like a matte finish. The barrel in here, the barrel is, like I said, about 10 inches. I can't really see it much. You don't have to take the rail off to get to the battery space, so I haven't seen it. So, I mean, it looks good. It is metal. Now, for the upgrades that I put on here, I put the WE ACR flip-up sights. I put a copy of the Field Sport T1. Now, I had one of these on my AR-15 and one on a friend's, and they both broke because of the recoil. So this one I have on an airsoft gun, so it's okay. I bought an actual legit Field Sport that says Field Sport on the side for my AR-15, but this one's just airsoft, no big deal. Even if it does break, like, I don't even turn it on in game because I don't look down my sights. Other upgrades, I have a stubby PTS vertical grip, which is nice. It's very short. I love it. It's probably got some sort of name to it. Sorry, I don't know. It's maybe like a mini RVG of some sort, whatever they call it. I got the AAC flash hider, which does fit a foam float suppressor, which I do have. I might actually try it, and that's it. It actually comes with this pistol grip, which is cool. It's a very unique looking pistol grip. ICS has done a really good job in their externals. The pistol grip looks cool. It's different from other systems, and I actually have 2 of ICS pistol grips on 2 of my M4s because they're so nice. Now, for internals, stock, it's going to come with a plastic hop-up, which kind of disappoints me because ICS's new M4s come with metal hop-ups from what I've seen. I think most of them, if not all of them, but the APE comes with plastic, which sucks. Now, this gun did come out, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, so back then when they came out, I don't think they were doing the metal hop-ups for their M4s yet. But it'd be nice if they could update it. Same design, the design's great, just metal would be awesome. Stock, the gun shot about 18 to 20 rounds a second, nothing crazy. It is pulling an M120 spring, so that's the reason why it was shooting a little bit slower. But if you get some of the CQB versions of their M4s with the same internals, and they'll be shooting dang near 24 roughly rounds a second when you're shooting 300 to 350. But this one was shooting 400, so out of the box, this is great for your outdoor use. You can swap the spring with a weaker spring because it's the split gearbox, so no issues there. Let's go ahead and split the receiver actually so you can see the internals. So you pop the rear pin and you can split the gearbox or the receivers just like that. Now, what was I talking about, the parts that secure everything? So while I almost dropped the upper gearbox and break something, this is the upper gearbox. This is the ledge that I'm talking about. It kind of sits, well, exactly like that. So it kind of lines up a little bit, helps line up and keep it from going back and maybe angling up. So it does seem to sit down pretty good. As far as internal upgrades, let's do the upper gearbox real quick. I did use an Aries full cylinder just to get more air volume, basically to potentially jewel creep, or make the gun louder, because when you're shoving a bunch of air down a short barrel, it'll have a pop at the end of the barrel, making it sound cool, you know. Plus, it over volumes so you can carry heavier BBs or jewel creep. Does it work with this gun? It doesn't necessarily jewel creep, but it does keep its energy well. It doesn't really creep, but it keeps its energy. So, as far as internal upgrades in here, just the Aries Amoeba full cylinder, a SHS pre-lightened metal rack piston, stock spring, and ball bearing spring guide comes in these, so great. Stock piston head, because it seemed to be nice, and that's it. That's literally it. So only 2 upgrades, metal rack piston and a full cylinder. Everything else is stock, so very good on this. No issues there. I did shave off one of the teeth for better AOE. I don't actually have a servo pad in here. I don't really care, honestly. I'm not going for it being quiet, and plus the gearbox shell here is very, very solid. It's very thick, so I'm not worried about it breaking anytime soon. No issues there, and plus the angle of engagement's pretty decent without a pad in there. Pop-up unit, I've never actually pulled this out. This is what it looks like. It's using a aluminum inner barrel, I don't know the diameter, plastic hop-up, says ICS 230 on there, and it looks like there's a lot of hop added. Now, I'm using the stock hop-up parts in here, and it shoots 200 feet with 2.5, so I'm cool. The stock internals are pretty dang decent. Don't get me wrong, you don't have to upgrade this gun if you don't want, guys, but I'm telling you, if you want more than, you know, 20 rounds a second, you gotta. Gearbox lower parts. It's got SHS 12-to-1s, 13-to-1s. I think they're 12-to-1s. They might be 13-to-1. They're both pretty close, you know. They'll both give out around the same rate of fire. And a BTC Spectre Mark II. And a sector chip. A retro arm straight trigger. And a ASG 40K boost. So, we have the stock high cap. and it'll fit flash mags, it'll fit standard high caps, it'll fit like Stanag type stuff. And it fit the BAMPs, but they wobbled a lot, so they might not feed. But I don't use BAMPs, so I'm just going to buy a few more high caps. I have 2 flash mags and 2 standard high caps. So I have plenty to use with this gun, but I do need to get a few more. So I have a magazine loaded up with .2s, what I think are .2s, the ICS BBs that came with the gun. And then I have the magazine that came with the gun loaded up with 2.5s, G&G 2.5s. So let's go ahead and chrono it. I don't think it's shooting as hard as I want. I want it shooting 400, which is what it did stock. But for some reason, it's shooting about 380 now. Now, I didn't chrono it like an idiot. I didn't chrono it before I upgraded it. I should have chronoed it first, but I've seen videos on YouTube where people were shooting it with .2s getting like 410. Maybe mine was just shooting 380. Maybe it has a weaker spring than other people's. Alright, so I got it loaded up with .2 gram BBs. Let's go ahead and chrono it. 386, 383, 387, 389, 384, 384, 385, 386, 387, 385, 385, 383, 387. So pretty consistent. 2.5s, 343, 348, 349, 348, 350. 350 with a .25 is 1.43 joules. So what were we getting before? Was it 1.38, I think? So it seemed to have gone up. 1.42, 1.42, 1.42, 1.41. So basically 1.4 joules with a .25, which is still pretty decent. 33. That's more like it. 33 rounds a second on a full charge, 11.1. You know, that's full charge. The goal was 30, so we're chilling. I'm totally happy with between 28 and 33, depending on charge. No problem there whatsoever. Feeding is fantastic. Of course, you can see the trigger response is incredible. Honestly, trigger response of an HPA gun, let's be honest. Now for full auto, as you can see, feeds no problem. Alright guys, so I'm going to have a very small update on this gun. So first of all, I ended up changing the spring out on it. This is what the spring ended up doing. Now it didn't really drop any feet per second. I'm getting I was consistent 380 feet per second with a .2, and that's what I was getting on the other portion of the video. So it stayed pretty consistent, but it did bend, as you can see. So I don't like that at all. That's not good in the spring. They can snap, and this is probably just because of pre-cocking. I didn't leave it pre-cocked, because every time I flip to safe, it decompresses the spring. So I don't know, maybe this just isn't a good quality spring. So I ended up putting a ASG M125 that I had laying around, and I had used the M125 in my 40 RPS SSG before I DSG'd it, and I had it for about 6 months, and I played with it a lot. So, and I had that gun pre-cocked as well. So this spring is fully broken in, and I'm getting about 395 feet per second, so exactly pretty much where I want it, 400 with a .20, and then I use 2.5s, which is about, I think it's about 1.45 joules with the 2.5, which is just perfect, whereas with this I was getting about 1.35 joules, and this is an outdoor gun specifically. If I do ever want to take it indoor, I can lower the pre-cocking and just put a M105 in here, or so, to play indoor. Also, another update is I purchased a new battery for it. Now, I don't have that battery in yet, so on this shooting test and on all the other shooting tests, all the gameplay, I've been using these. They're the Venom 1300 20 to 30C. It's just not enough power. They do heat up a little bit, and they die pretty quickly. So I found myself, the first time I played with it, they allowed a full auto game, and right after the full auto game, my battery was pretty much dead.
and I hadn't played that much that day. So I don't know. So what I ended up doing is purchasing a 2000 milliamp Nanotech battery that fits in here. It's a nunchuck because I have a brick version for my Thompson, the same milliamp, same C rating, and it doesn't fit. It just needs to be 3 parts so that I can stick one vertical.
If you have any questions or anything, let me know, and I'll see you on the next video.